People say it's not what you know, but who you know. And that may be true. But only one relationship changes everything forever. Hello, I'm Bishop Robert Gosselin of the Confessing Anglican Church, and this is the first word. Every morning you and I like to get together, not just for information, but for formation, clarity, and looking for that peace that only Christ can give. So let me encourage you to take a breath, settle your mind and your heart, and let's begin with the first word. This morning I want to talk to you about friends in high places. You hear it everywhere, in business, in politics, sometimes even in churches. People say it with a shrug or sometimes with a sigh. Yeah, it's not what you know, but who you know. Well, whether we like that phrase or not, we all understand the truth behind it. Doors open because of relationships. Opportunities appear because, someone knows someone. The ability to make the right connections is valued in every realm of life. And I've seen that reality up close. You see, for nearly a decade, I served as the CEO of a consultancy that was owned by a former Israeli ambassador. And his network of relationships, it was as extensive as it was impressive. He had spent decades cultivating trust with leaders across continents, presidents, prime ministers, diplomats, business executives, religious leaders, nonprofit organization leaders, financiers. When he picked up the phone, people answered. One day we received a call from the chief counsel of a public interest law firm that we served with. His voice carried the weight of urgency. A pastor had been wrongfully arrested in Iran. Not only arrested, he had actually been scheduled for execution. Now, the Iranian government was hiding the truth, insisting publicly that he was merely being held for some minor crime. I think they said it was stealing or something. But behind the scenes, the machinery of death was already in motion. Now, the best strategy to save his life required a high-level political connection in Brazil, someone with enough influence to confront the Iranian ambassador and to force the truth into the light. So the question this lawyer was calling to ask the ambassador was simple. Hey, do you have any high-level connections in Brazil? I'll never forget the ambassador's reply. He didn't pause. He didn't hedge. He didn't say, let me check. He simply said, how about the vice president? That's when you realize you're working with somebody who's got friends in high places. Well, to make a long, albeit very interesting story short, the plan moved quickly. Our team traveled to Brazil for meetings with the vice president. Those meetings opened the door to a key senator, who's a man who'd been in direct conversation with the Iranian ambassador. And when the senator confronted the ambassador, holding up a copy of the death warrant, that very document that Iran was denying existed, the truth could no longer be hidden. The ambassador communicated back to the powers that be in Tehran and let them know that their plan had been exposed. And suddenly everything changed. The pastor's life was spared. He was released. He was even allowed to leave Iran. The lesson here is it didn't matter what we knew. The critical factor was who we knew. Now, I've been blessed with some extraordinary relationships throughout my life. I've worked with presidents and prime ministers. I've met popes and patriarchs. I have served clients at the highest levels of corporations and airlines and banks. But here's the truth that eclipses all of that. I only have a relationship with one king. But one king is enough. Because that king isn't just any king. He is the king. In fact, he's the King of Kings. And unlike any earthly leader, his power isn't limited by borders or politics or public opinion. He doesn't need a diplomatic channel. He doesn't require a meeting to be scheduled. He doesn't negotiate out of fear or pressure. And when he speaks, creation itself responds. When he moves, nothing on earth is capable of stopping him. And when he opens a door, no one exists that can shut it. And here's the part that still amazes me. Even after decades of ministry and leadership and global work. Are you ready for this? This is going to blow your mind. Are you listening? The King invites you into relationship. No, not as a servant, not even as a subject. He wants to adopt you as his son or his daughter. Would you just think about that for a second? The King of Kings, the one who holds galaxies in his hands, says, come to me, call upon me. I will never leave you or forsake you. Whew. You want to talk about friends in high places? There is no higher place than the throne of heaven. And there's no greater friend than Jesus. Let me tell you something I've learned in boardrooms and in embassies and government offices around the world. Earthly connections can open earthly doors. But only one relationship opens eternal ones. Only one relationship brings the peace that outlasts the circumstances. Only one relationship brings forgiveness that wipes the slate clean. Only one relationship brings purpose that cannot be taken away. And that relationship brings hope that even death itself cannot destroy. And that relationship is with Jesus. So let me end with this. If you don't know him, if you've heard about him but never met him, or if you've admired him from a distance but never really trusted him personally, I would love to introduce you. Because you know who really matters? Him. And knowing him changes everything. Because who you know really does make a difference.